Okay, year 11, you've had a week off, so very quickly we're going to go through a couple of videos for your exam on Friday. First of all, cost of production. As you know, there's several types of costs a business has to cope with. First of all, you've got the fixed costs. For those that can't remember, fixed costs do not change with output or production. They're the things that stay the same: rent, rates, people's salaries, to name but a few. Conversely, we've got variable costs that do change. Variable costs do change with output. Those things would be the unit cost of production. They'd also be the cost of the raw materials. There'd be the cost of wages. Whereas the average cost will have an element of change because of the variable element of it, and total costs obviously are the fixed and the variable costs totaled up. Fixed costs, as you can see, are costs that do not change with the level of output. More examples on that slide are rent, loan interest, building insurance. Fixed cost per unit will fall if the output overall is increased. Fixed costs may also change in the long term. When we say fixed costs are fixed, they're fixed in the short term. Most companies negotiate fixed prices for a year at a time, but once that year is up, you have to renegotiate. Those costs will increase in the long term, so after that 12-month period. One of the questions you could get asked on Friday is, what fixed costs is Aaron Furniture Limited likely to have? Is there any indication that these will change? Clearly, Aaron Furniture has lots of fixed costs. It's got loan interest, which is fixed as long as the interest rate stays the same. Directors' salaries are fixed unless the directors decide to pay themselves more money. You've got business rates that are fixed for the year at a time. You've got buildings and equipment insurance, which is fixed. The potential changes for Aaron Furniture Limited, looking at the possibility of purchasing equipment and a new factory, which could lead to further loans, higher business rates and higher insurance costs. So they could increase those fixed costs by moving to a bigger factory. On the other hand, variable costs are those that do change with the level of output. Examples include costs of raw materials, wages that we said earlier, paid by the hour, cost of power used in the production, so the more they produce, the more the cost of the electricity, the gas, the water. So total variable costs will rise as output increases. If output is zero, so will be the variable costs be zero, because if you're not making anything, you've got no raw material costs and production costs. Second question you could get asked on Friday is, what variable costs will Aaron Furniture Limited have? And secondly, what factors could affect the variable costs for Aaron Furniture Limited? Well, there's a couple of things there. Aaron Furniture is buying wood to make furniture, which is a variable cost. It's got the production cost of the labour on an hourly rate. It's got the power, electric, needed for the machinery. It's got other factors affecting costs, external factors, which are going to constantly have an impact on the business. You've got the price of raw materials going up and down sometimes, and you've got the exchange rate of the cost of the wood if it's imported from another country, not the UK. Average cost, which you might struggle to remember, average cost is the average cost per unit produced. So it's a total of fixed cost per unit divided by the units produced, as well as the variable cost per unit. So average cost is a tricky one if you can't remember what it is, but average cost will fall as output increases due to the fixed cost element falling. So the average cost is the total cost, I guess you could say, divided by the total quantity produced. So that's basically the cost of producing one item. Total cost, a bit easier for you to remember. Total cost is the cost of all the units produced, and as you know, it's made up of variable costs times the number of units produced plus total fixed costs. So total cost will rise as output increases because of the variable cost element that will be incurred for each additional item made. So total costs will constantly increase as you get busier and busier and busier, not because of the fixed element, but because of the variable cost element involved with extra costs for every item you make. This will definitely come up on Friday. Economies of scale, we've covered it several times now. Economies of scale are the cost advantages that a business sees from expanding its business. So as the business grows, the unit costs fall due to factors such as buying in bulk and getting big discounts for buying in bulk, and also the fixed cost element of the total cost are spread over more units. So the cost of marketing all the furniture is less if you make more, the cost of administration is less if you make more, the cost of IT is less if you make more, the cost of the management per unit is less if you make more. So those big costs are per unit a lot less. Conversely, diseconomies of scale occur when a business becomes too large, and as a result of it becoming too large, it becomes less efficient, and the unit costs increase. And they're generally caused by poor communication, making the business less effective, lack of motivation of workers because they feel less appreciated and just a number in a little fish in a big pond. And as a result of being less motivated, they might be less productive, less quality focused, and just doing the minimum, I guess. If there's too many people around, the cost of wages in terms of output might add to the diseconomy of scale as well. So economies of scale are very positive, however diseconomies of scale are very negative. And that's our little projection on PowerPoint 1 of 9 on production and production costs. Well done.